Okay, welcome everyone to my podcast, She Knows, with Aisha, that being me, the host. I'm very happy to have launched and getting this podcast off the ground has been really tough. I really wanted to talk about my experiences, so I'm gonna start it here. So a little bit about me and my background, where I'm from. I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. 6 Mile and Vaughn is where I'm from. I miss my home. I don't get a chance to visit often, but I'm a Detroit baby, Motor City. My childhood there, growing up, was rough, very intense, very traumatic, which led me to the career field that I entered in. On another episode, I'll get in more details about that and how it affected my purpose. I end up leaving Detroit, Michigan and moving to Buffalo, New York, where a lot of my life began with having my son and my daughter, raising my kids, being a single mother. Majority of the time, you hear about that with African American women. And it's a thing for our culture in this particular day and time. But what could you do? I'm here to make a change, even with that in that area, speaking about it and talking about how that affects our community also. But my podcast is not going to just be about that. My podcast is going to be about the career and field that I entered in, which is the criminal justice field. And with that being said, the criminal justice field has a lot to do with politics, government. We're going to dive deep in that. So after I had the opportunity to go to college, because I did not graduate high school, I graduated with a GED. I was in the streets doing a lot of unnecessary things, but I had to grow out of my environment to become a better person. I mean, my goodness, you're talking about a Black African American woman in America is crazy. Like, it's difficult growing into an educated, strong, empowering woman. It's not easy because it's a lot of things you have to work through in this society to even be able to believe in yourself and grow into this person. And I'm still growing and finding my way through life, but it is difficult even now. So I was able to get my GED, going to college, and I always told myself that as soon as I get this opportunity, I'm going to take full advantage of it, because it was so hard as a single mother to even get to that point in life. So I entered college. I started off in paralegal. When I was young, I used to tell my mother I wanted to grow up and be a judge. So that was one of my things that I never forgot. I wanted to do that. Now, that's not necessarily the road that it led to, because I ended up switching majors a couple of times to being a teacher in the elementary school. And I did do that. I got a certification in teaching assistance and an associate's degree. So I did that for a while, and it was fun. It was not as satisfying, because what I learned about my personality was I was the type of person that I wanted to influence change in people's lives. And that was important to me. So yes, with the children, yes, I was making an impact. Yes, I was making a change, but I really wanted to go into the part of criminal justice. Why? Because it impacted my family so much. It impacted my community. It impacted my life. So I ended up switching majors after I entered in the field of youth corrections. I ended up transitioning my major back to criminal justice. Working with youth was intense and incredible. I saw a lot of things. I it was the aftermath of the cases that got me, because innocent until proven guilty. A lot of the youth came in, and some of the things that they didn't match up with their personalities in the correctional facility, which was crazy to me. I am still very grateful for that opportunity to work for the youth. And mind you, I'm still about the youth to this day, because they are the next generation that's coming up in this world, and they still need leaders as much as people don't believe that they do, but they need strong leaders to point the way so they can take their next role in life. They're next. So that was important to me. And let me mention also that what got them about me when I used to talk to them was that I was in the same youth correctional facility as them, which blew their mind. And it used to be like, Miss I, how did you do it? Or what made you change, Because I was literally there. Which made me want to go work for the facility. And I got the opportunity, because it's not an easy place to get into and get employed at. But I got the opportunity. So I would tell them, and I have to keep it real with them. You can't sugarcoat anything with youth. You have to be real with them, because their lifestyle is real. A lot of them, they would come in homeless, just wanting to get out the street, So moving forward, I don't want to stay too stuck on that. That could be a whole episode within itself talking about that. So moving on, I went to apply for other fields like the FBI, corrections, and a police officer. So it's so funny, because I used to run around the gym, when they were having rec. And I'm like, I used to say I'm going to be a police officer, like this was a very serious decision, and it wasn't easy to make, because I used to think about it for years about how I wanted to be a police officer. But in the environment that I was raised in, the people that I was around, I had no direction in that area. I didn't know anything about it. All I knew that I wanted to do it. It was always in the back of my mind, other than wanting to be a judge. And also, let me mention, I always wanted to go to the Army. I just never did it. So I applied to an internship with the FBI. That was a very difficult hiring process. But I got to the very, very end of the process, and COVID happened, which I know that affects a lot of people in their lives. And what has happened changed the world. They put a stop on my hiring process, and I was very discouraged, because I went through the hiring process, and that's another thing that I'm going to talk about on this podcast. Different hiring process for agencies as such as the FBI, CIA, Capitol Police. Like it's steps to these things, and I encourage everyone that's listening, please, if that is something that's in your nature to do, and that's something you really want to do, I encourage you to embark on that journey. It's not an easy journey, but it's an incredible journey. And I say it to African American men, African American women. We have to get in these fields to make an impact, because as you can see, our country is in a disarray at this present moment. It is not in the best place, because we're still having killings with police officers that do not know how to use a use of force policy. And like I said, I'm not going to digress, because like I said, I'm going to be talking about all these things. I happened to apply to a couple of agencies, like I said, corrections. I was on my way there. I could apply to a couple of police departments that were out of town, because I always wanted to move out of town. So as I'm going to finish the hiring process for corrections in Albany, New York, I get a call from a police department, Metropolitan Police Department. That was the department that called me, and I was ecstatic about getting that call, because first of all, this police department gave me a chance and an opportunity. Now, let me say once again, my lifestyle was not the best as I was coming up in this world. I had been incarcerated, and that was on my record. And that's something that held me back in so many ways. I had a misdemeanor. I'll go into details on one day on how that happened and what occurred. And sometimes when you have records like that, you can't get into departments like police officers and different things of that sort. You know, they want you to have a clean record. I was called back to write a statement as I'm on the road to Albany, New York, to do my physical tests and a couple of other things for the correctional position. And I think it was the one of the sergeants. I don't remember his name. He like, because you could pull over really quick and write a statement. And I didn't know why they wanted me to write the statement, but now that I have experience, I think they wanted to know. No, I'm for sure they wanted to know that my statement matched up with the police officers who took the report statement, to see if I was telling the truth, because integrity, honesty is important in the police field. Well, and honestly, in any of those fields, they want to know that they could be able to trust you. They want to know that you have moral standards. Now, even though it's a lot of people that don't, okay, they don't, but this is what they're looking for. Probably nothing but 15 minutes later, because I put over to some type of station. 15 minutes later, I get the call back that I am accepted into the academy. And when I tell y'all, it was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. Now, my mother, Carmelita Autry, that is her name, God rest her soul. My mother was born in Washington, D.C., so I had been there a couple of times just visiting for the position. I really didn't get a chance to indulge in the city like I did once I moved in that area. And believe me, it was totally different. It was wild, man, good and bad. So I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I didn't know what to expect. But I will tell you, they gave me 2 weeks, I think. No, I had 2.5 weeks, I remember, to be there and be ready Monday morning for the academy. I told you I'm a single mother. And to be honest with y'all, I have never really had a strong support system. So that move was all on me. Luckily, I had already been planning for years, so I had money saved up to make the move. I think I had like $11,000 or $12,000 saved up. So I had the money. The time that it took for me to move from one state to another was like, I was stressed getting there. But I'll get into more details. I'm going to keep moving forward. But I made it there. Long story short, I found a place within 2.5 weeks. I was able to get all my stuff or sell it or whatever I needed to do, U-Haul, everything. I'm going to tell y'all why I really chose and became dedicated to be a police officer. So y'all know, like I said, the FBI stuff fell apart in 2020, which is the pandemic. Also, at that point in time, the riots started to happen. George Floyd happened. George Floyd, right there, that moment it impacted me, okay? I finally made a decision to say I'm going to do it. Mind you, most police departments have a cutoff age. Well, really here in New York State, 35. I think I was... I'm trying to remember, everything has moved fast these years. I think I was approaching 35 or I was 33, 34. I'm not sure. So I've been trying to make my decision for years. Also, I applied for the Buffalo Police too. That's in Buffalo, New York. So their waiting list is very long. If you ever get into this field, you'll notice it depends on what state you in, how long it takes. It's a lot in this. So that inspired me, man. I thought of my son, family members, boyfriends, like it didn't matter. Like I wanted to be a part of the change in the United States of America that represented so much of what was going on. And plus I wanted to understand, like, why do these things happen? You know? So that was what inspired me. I'll move forward. I got hired. I was there for 2 years. I ended up going to another police department because I had to move back for family reasons. And like I said, as I'm going through this process, we're talking to y'all about my experience. We'll dive into more details about what's going on pertaining to why I left, why I went to different departments and different things of that sort. But I end up moving back for family reasons to Buffalo, New York. I ended up getting hired at the Veteran Affairs Police Department. And I spent a year about with them. And that was about a good 3 years as a police officer. So I know I'm making it kind of sweet, but in short, but when they say you see a lot as an officer, you do. I went to work in one of the hardest cities, which is Washington, D.C. And the day you step out, well, matter of fact, even in the academy, the day you start to do all these things, your life changes. And it's hard work. You're gonna learn a lot. And that's particularly with that city. And I speak about big cities like that, like Washington, D.C., New York City, Los Angeles. These police departments, these cities is different. You're gonna do calls, high volumes of patrol calls back to back. You're gonna get your fill of going to different calls. It's serious, you know. So you're gonna get real life experience in these type of cities. So next I could probably say even like with Detroit, Michigan, or Chicago, they have a high crime volume out there as such too. So you're gonna get it. It's gonna happen. So I did that with the Veteran Affairs Police Department. This is a jurisdiction, so you're not going to be running to calls. You're going to be on the grounds, and it's so much slower. It's so much different than city policing. It really is. And the laws are different. When you're dealing with these type of laws, you're dealing with federal laws, as such as another jurisdiction, the Capitol Police, U.S. Supreme Court Police, if I'm correct. So you're dealing with jurisdictions. They don't move out of their grounds. They stay within their authority, and they deal with federal law. So where I stand at today and why I'm doing the podcast, why I want to share this information. First off, it's important for us as a people to understand our criminal justice system. Our criminal justice system impacts us so much. Our U.S. Constitution impacts us so much when it comes to these things. And we need to know about it. When I talk to people about my experience as an officer, it is just some things that they don't know. And I would like to educate people that don't know about the criminal justice system and how it works, and even how the Constitution affects us. I'm going to get into all that. I'm going to be interviewing people, especially like local citizens, just to get their point of view on the criminal justice system. And we're going to have some chats about that. We're going to talk about a lot of things on this podcast. And let me say this too. This podcast is my perspective. And that's one perspective, but it's a very important perspective. So we're not going to say like everything that I'm saying is 100% facts, concrete. I could pull things up to you and I could quote things to you that are facts, but understand when I'm giving my opinion about things, this is my opinion, and perspectives matters. So it could be another officer or another person that worked in this field and they're going to give a whole different perspective. And it may not agree with what I'm trying to share, but that's okay, because we're here to learn. We're here to grow. We're here to learn about our rights. We have to get more educated about these things. And why is this so important for us? So this is another thing why I created this podcast. It's going to really focus on the experience of African Americans in the United States of America. I want us to have a voice out here in this world, and all other cultures and nationalities are welcome in this podcast, because we're going to talk about this. We're going to get different perspectives, because the African American culture has not been represented appropriately through media, through news, and we have to change that. We have to change that. It's inappropriate. So we're going to talk about that. But like I said before, it is mainly to give us more of a voice and more of a perspective. My experience as a Black African American woman in the United States of America, the process that I've been through just trying to become successful and get grounded and be seen and being heard has been difficult for me. It has been difficult for me. I have worked double time. I have worked very hard to the point I've had burnout moments just because I'm trying to get a point through, and I'm trying to let my behavior speak volumes to this country. So I have developed a new passion after going through all these different phases of life to push out my perspective, because you can't necessarily do this while you're employed with different departments and different things of this sort. It could be against policy and things of that sort. So once again, I'm happy that people are listening. I am here to listen to. That's why I said I'm going to be doing the interviews to you guys. I want to know your perspective. I want to know how you feel and how we can change, not all the hollering and screaming. I want us to talk to each other about our future, because the African American culture here in the United States of America, we still babies. I don't know if y'all know this. They said, I haven't done the calculations, y'all. Don't quote me on this or whatever. Wait, 300 years we've been here or whatever. I'm not sure. I gotta go back and look at that. It might even be longer. But we are just beginning to bloom. They say that we was doing it before, but we entering an, I feel from the way I'm looking at the world, a whole new dimension. And I'm gonna explain why I feel like this. We have so much access to social media. Like, whoever wanted to control the newspapers years ago, they did that. They can't do that now. It's so hard to control the narrative of what you want people to believe in this country. You can't do it no more. It's so many people getting exposed. Listen, it's changing. And I feel like now, our culture, we are at the walking stages of life. And this is just my opinion, y'all. We learning how to walk. We toddlers in this country. And I know, like, I feel like we was just in the birthing stage because we created so much. We was in a fetus back there when we was in chains and things of that sort. We had to go through so many phases, and we still going through phases just understanding ourselves in this country. We are a whole different new breed here. We different. We different on the West Coast. We different on the East Coast. We different in the South, and we different in the North. Okay? We different. They not like us. Okay? So don't start. I'm telling y'all, this gonna get fun. It's gonna get fun because I get to be myself too. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm urban all the way around. Like, holla at your girl. You heard? So we gonna get into it. We gonna have some fun. We gonna talk about some real serious things because I know I got people that know me that want to get their voices heard. This may not be a thing for everybody. It is not easy taking steps to put yourself out there. I realized that when I was working in Washington, D.C., I had to conduct my business in a certain type of way because the cameras was out there, okay? So I had to be mindful. So I do realize even with this, I'm putting myself out there, but that's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. Because it's for something. It's for a purpose. You know, everybody has their purposes in this world. And if you have one, cultivate it, grow it, make it evolve. You know, do that. So it's important. So like I said before, I'm looking forward to doing all this. I have some ideas that I will be sharing in the future. I will be going live here and there because my podcast is so new. It's going to go through some changes, but I'm here for it. I'm pretty sure y'all are too. Anybody that know me, y'all want to hear what I got to say, and it's all good. We gonna do this together. This is going to be great. This is going to be fun. So I love y'all. I'm excited. I know y'all like, okay, girl. Something new, okay? Something new, you know, get into it. Yes, I'm excited for this dream of mine, this ambition, this goal. I'm here for the people, y'all. I'm here for the city of Buffalo. Let me say that too. Because I have been here for so long, it's some changes that I definitely wanted to see in this city. So I'm hoping to network with some people that have ideas about the city of Buffalo and what we can do for the change here. As far as local laws, I want to get into all that. I want to talk about all that. Yeah. So I love y'all. Welcome to my podcast. She knows, but I don't know everything. I know enough.